Hello, one and all! This is my review, reaction, and cut content discussion of Arifureta Season 3, Episode 14. And last we left off, we got to see the trials of Shizuku, Suzu, Tio, and sorta kinda Ryu. And now this episode we focused on the trials of Yue, Shia, and Caelry. And that is a lot of stuff they need to fit into a very small space. I mean, I know it sounds like last episode had so much more, but it was also just a much shorter chapter. It was like a 50-page chapter, whereas this is like a 90-page chapter. And everything that happens in it is kind of like super freaking important. Like, for example, we're starting off here, we're opening up with a flashback to the past of Yui before she was Yui, before she was stealed away and awoken by Hajime and then given a new name by him. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm very freaking excited for this because so far the trials haven't really given us much flashbacks, which I find to be really weird. Like, the whole point of the trials is making people, like, you know, make amends with their past, overcome all that. And yet, so far, they've included nothing. We got, Shizuku, a flashback before the trial really started of her in class, but besides that, the rest of them, I mean, we could have gotten, like, even flashbacks of stuff that we actually saw in the anime in these episodes, and we just didn't, which led to a lot of just, like, still characters rambling, like, haha, you remember when you blew up the church? Like, we couldn't have seen a quick flash of the church blowing up, something like that. No, I guess not. But alright, now we're finally getting like Yui's flashback as an actual freaking flashback to who she used to be back then. I'm so excited. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Hey, it's Yui's uncle, remember? He's the dude who literally stabbed her in the back and then sealed her underground in the dark all alone for 300 freaking years. Yeah, that dude. Unfortunately, we are not seeing Ubalbo, which is a bit of a disappointment, the one I was kind of expecting. Ubalbo was the captain, a captain of the Royal Guards, and a man who has, been with Yui since literally the day she was born. He's basically a grandfather figure to her, and he has a long, curled, handlebar mustache, which I very much wanted to see, but makes sense now. They're focusing on the flashback. The important thing about the flashback is Yui's uncle. He is the star of this show, for lack of a better term. And as for what's happened right now, Yui heard there was an invasion going on and charged out alone and proceeded to murder 5,000 soldiers by herself. I think she's, 17 in this scene? Maybe younger than that? Yeah, that's just what Yui does. She goes out, she fights, she destroys, and then she goes out and does it again because people keep on freaking attacking. It's actually explained this is a warring period in the world where all these nations are constantly going back and forth trying to destroy each other. And the thought is like, hey, the vampire nation, they may be small, but they got Yui, and she is a freaking god of destruction. So if we can beat them, if we can beat their god, then we can use their god to beat other people who we wouldn't normally be able to beat. It is not a well thought out strategy, and I love it. Oh, that's the other thing. Yui, like I said, Yui literally ran out as soon as she heard there was an invasion going on because she wanted to protect the people who, might have been attacked by the invading army. But she was in such a rush that she is still wearing the gown she had on when she heard the news. Oh, Yui. Oh, that was adorable. Oh, I love it. Yeah, so automatic regeneration is Yui's ability, which basically makes her immortal. Essentially, as long as she has mana, she will recover. And that's not something we really see much all in the anime. The light novel actually says, Yui's fighting style is basically to get hit over and over again and just constantly recover from the wounds using that power, so she's able to focus on defeating her enemies, which is honestly kind of terrifying. And I can fully understand why the anime isn't showing her getting torn to shreds every single freaking battle. Anyway, this is actually not a common trait among vampires, and something only, old mythical vampires of the ancient age used to have. But Yui has it. Good for her. And now she's getting scolded for thinking that the power, makes her invincible and makes her think that she has to be the one that solves all the country's problems. Yeah, that's actually what Yui says repeatedly throughout this chapter. Her uncle was the only person who actually was able to scold her, actually able to tell her that she was wrong, because basically from the time she was born, Yui was perfect. She was a genius, she was smart, she was strong, she had all these amazing traits, so everyone just treated her as a goddess, whereas her uncle treated her like an actual little girl who needed the occasional scolding. Like being told not to go out and play while wearing her fancy clothes. There we go. There we freaking go. Her true name, Alicia. Actually, her name is way freaking longer than that. Let me pull up the wiki. Yeah. Her full name is Alicia Galdia Vesperito Avatero. God, you royals. You really gotta learn to shorten things, seriously. Oh god, this is such an innocent Yui. I mean, yes, she just murdered 5,000 people, but she's so much gentler than the Yui we know today. So much freer, so much happier. I wouldn't say she's not happy with Hajime, but so much more carefree than she is now, where she is just always seems a little bit intense, if you know what I mean. Alright, episode 14, the overpowered vampire princess and the godlike rabbit's grand battle. I love it. And also, tradition, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wait, why am I only counting 13 bullet holes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14. Okay, no, 14. I miscounted the first time. My bad. Alright, yes, oh, I love Mirror Yui. But yeah, so basically what she's doing right now is using spirit magic to bring up old memories of Yui's and project them into her to make her see them. It's actually described as looking just insanely awesome in the light novel, with the illusions being in the same space as Yui is. So while she's fighting her copy, she sees her past self being stabbed in the corner of the room. Oh, I don't think we'll see it here, but it is such an amazing visual, to imagine. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. This is how, Yui used to speak, all, cool and collected, because she was a royal, after all. But after a few dozen years being sealed away, she realized, oh no, that just sounds really freaking annoying. Why have I been bothering with this for so long? And ever since then, she's spoken way more casually. Yeah, I mean, we just saw. We literally just saw the uncle. I mean, I know Yui said the first time we met her, oh, my uncle betrayed me. That has a very different connotation. I mean, we can all imagine, a sneaking uncle being yes, soon the throne will be mine. But here, in the opening, we saw a man who seemed to truly and absolutely care for Yui, seemed to love her. And so, for someone like that to betray her, it just hits so differently. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Yui was probably 17 at the time of that flashback, but the truth is, she's been going to the battlefield since she was 12 years old. Again and again and again, she went out to fight, was forced to see horrors, was forced to see friends die, was forced to kill just a countless number of people, but she still did that because she loved her country and wanted to support it, wanted to help them as best she can, so she stained her hands red with blood for their sake. Yeah, here we go. This is a few years later. At this point, I think Yui should have already been named queen. Not because her father died, but basically because he looked around and was like, okay, so Yui, Alicia, I've noticed that you are really popular. So much so that the human nation called up and said, hey, we want to start worshiping her as our new god. You cool with that? So I don't feel like there's any point in me being on the throne anymore. I'm just gonna quit, alright? Good luck. I know you're 17, but I'm sure you can handle being queen, no problem. Yeah, her father's an interesting dude. I'm not even sure if we're gonna see him in this whole episode. But anyway, by this point, after she took the throne, after all this happened, Uncle started getting very, very distant to the point where she hadn't really had a full conversation with him in years. I mean, outside of work. And the only time she actually ate with him was when he showed up for her birthday dinner. So, yeah, Yue is not happy. Again, not Yue. Lita is not happy about this. And she's really wondering, like, okay, what did I do wrong? How did I tick off my uncle? Did I do something to upset him? Even going so far as to say, like, oh, if he wants the throne, I will fully give it to him if it'll make him happy. If it'll make him just talk to me again. Oh, God, that sadness. Oni-sama! Oh, God. That hurt. That really hurt. Oof. Is that an order? He's basically saying, like, I will only eat with you. I will only deign to, sit with you for a meal if you will literally order me to do it. Oh. Yeah, so basically at this point, she is actually queen. She's got the fancy crown on. And it's been made abundantly clear that Uncle is up to something. He's plotting something, he's talking with people. It seems like he's going to try and pull off a coup and take the throne for himself. And like everyone's saying, like, Yue, freaking arrest this man, execute him, something, seriously, you've got to do something to stop him. And she just can't because she loves her uncle more than anyone else in the entire world. Yeah, her father kinda right, saying he's dangerous, considering he just, broke into the room. Also, I do like that we aren't actually seeing the father, we're just hearing his booming voice from the distance, because, yeah, Yui doesn't actually remember her father all that well. It's actually said that there are no clear memories of him or her mother that have made it through these last 300 years of being sealed away. He just wasn't that important to her. Which, cold, Yui, cold, but certainly understandable. Her uncle was the only one who actually treated her like a real person, like someone who, should be raised as a normal child, not worshipped as a god. In fact, her father actually got mad at his brother, her uncle, for scolding her because Yui was too perfect to be scolded. Yeah, so this is a lot different in the light novel, where Yui is having this full conversation with her parents in kind of a smaller room, and Ubalbo, like I said before, the captain of the Guard Knights, bursts in with his soldiers, kills her parents, kills her retainers, kills her friends, and while Yui's freaking out, being like, no, please don't do this, even though she could very easily just kill them if she wanted to, Uncle shows up and stabs her in the back from behind. Wow. Okay, somehow I think stabbing someone from the front is colder. It's actually colder than stabbing them from behind like that. He did not utter a single word, but his hands were shaking. Oh, mother. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, that was perfect. And like I said before, Yui is fully immortal and can't die unless she runs out of mana. In fact, at one point in this fight, her arm literally gets torn off, and by the time she lands and is able to fight again, after a few seconds, it fully grows back. Yeah, so yeah, being stabbed in the heart was barely an inconvenience for her. Back then, I think they did a whole lot more than stabbing her in the heart to neutralize her, but yeah, so Yui's pretty invincible. Yeah, that's the big, thing here. Basically, the Labyrinth is saying, like, hey, you know that the people betray one another. You know that even those that you love and care about most in the world can betray you. So who's to say that Hajime, Shea, Caelry, Chiyo, Shizuku, they won't stab you in the back. They won't betray you the same way your uncle did. That's how Labyrinth is trying to test her, trying to push her, trying to uncover the darkness in her heart by bringing up these fears that maybe she will be betrayed again. And they will, and this whole argument absolutely fails to work because Yui is just that freaking obsessed with Hajime. So much so that she literally says that, she will stick by his side no matter what he does. Even if he betrays her, even if he abandons her, she will chase him down and capture him again. Oh, I love you, Yui. Yeah, so because the copy's words aren't actually hurting Yui all that much, the copy isn't getting stronger, meaning this is a pretty easy fight for Yui. I mean, not super easy, but certainly manageable. Oh, Miss Yui is a beloved character. Oh my god. In fact, even more awkward in the light novel, where she says, everybody loves a mascot character, and then there is a long, awkward silence. To me, the betrayal is something dear to me. That is an insane line to say. To say, like, oh yeah, being betrayed, being stabbed, being stuck underground for 300 years, that is dear to me. That is something I like. That's something I'm glad happened. Yeah, even her copy, even the thing that knows everything about her is shocked when she says that. There we go, there we go. So yeah, Yui's literally saying like, oh yeah, 300 years still in the darkness, that's fine, that's nothing. If I had the chance, I would do it all over again if it meant meeting Hajime, if it meant being by his side, if it meant being loved by him. Everything I went through was worth it because of him. And this actually mirrors a conversation we saw near the end of season 1, when, Hajime went back to the town where they had the Orcus Labyrinth in it. He was wondering about, he was thinking back to him falling, to everything that happened, the whole trial in the labyrinth, and he said, like, yeah, it sucked, but if I had the chance, I'd go back and do it all again. I'd literally fling myself into the abyss, because it was only by doing that I was allowed to meet Yui. That's how much I care about her. Yeah, get my arm torn off, starving to death for several days, all that was worth it because of Yui. Yeah, so these two are just like equally obsessed with one another. Oh, I love them. Yeah, I guess you are like, this is, the mirror, the copy is part of the labyrinth itself. It knows how Hajime passed his trial with this whole rant about how, Yui, he's obsessed with Yui and that's fine, it's an unhealthy relationship, but it's okay. So it knows that he passed that way, so it's like, yeah, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that Yui is gonna pass this way too. Do you really think you can stay with him forever and ever? Well, Yui is essentially immortal, so maybe, but the bigger question here is, but basically what Labyrinth's trying to do here is say, like, okay, you're fine with Hajime saying he'll never betray you, and if he does, you'll stick by his side, you'll love him for the rest of your life, but what if something gets in the way of that? What if something, keeps you and Hajime apart? And it's about to remind her of a very, very important line that she has chosen to ignore. In fact, her entire past is something that she has more or less chosen to ignore. With you even saying, like, I haven't thought about my uncle, our past together, anything like that, ever since I met Hajime. For the last 6 months or so, I have not thought once about being betrayed, being stealed away, any of that, because I have been fully focused on my obsession with Hajime. So yeah, very important in that last trial, in that last second. I mean, before that point, Yui had the advantage. Her copy was getting weaker, meaning Yui was stronger. But when the two dragons clashed, it was an even fight, meaning something rattled Yui, meaning something made her doubt, made the darkness in her heart grow just a little bit stronger. Oh, I love it. So yeah, this is not even close to a challenge for Shea, because she is just so focused on the future that the past can never really bother her that much. And her copy is just so utterly terrified by everything about her. It's trying, though. It really is trying. Like, I mean, she has a lot of darkness in her past, because, it was the fact that she was born. Her very existence meant that her tribe was not only ostracized by, other beastmen, but by fellow rabbitmen. They had to isolate entirely. They had to refuse all trade, negotiations, everything with the other tribes just to hide Shea. And as a result, everybody suffered, even before Shea was found out, and they had to run for their lives, and this Empire soldiers killed a bunch of them. they were still made to suffer because of Shia, because of her birth. So of course she'd feel guilty about that. She's just not letting that slow her down. That's a bit wrong. Even the other rabbitmen gave them a cold shoulder. It's the other way. The Holly tribe gave the other rabbitmen a cold shoulder because they were trying to hide Shia, and therefore they didn't want those other rabbitmen anywhere near them. I love this. I love the copy sounds desperate. Like, she's trying to get this out. She's trying to shake Shia, and it's not working. She's like, I'm trying. I'm saying all your fears. I'm saying all your negative things. Why isn't this working? Why am I not getting stronger? Why am I actually getting weaker? Why are you getting stronger in the middle of this fight? What the freak is going on? Drop the hammer. Fully drop the hammer and just came in swinging. Oh, that's the Shia I know and love. Wow, that was a very, very quick fight right there. That was supposed to be like several pages of the light novel, but this does pretty much sum it up. But this does sum it up pretty quickly. You know, Shia is not held back by her past, clearly. You can't change the past, you can only carry it with you. Yeah, Shia is not held back by the past, all the trauma and darkness and awful things she's been through. She's focused on the future. Her power is literally seeing the future, and so she's fighting for a better tomorrow, not thinking about how to make up for the horrible past that she went through and her tribe went through. I mean, she is pretty freaking close to invincible, and that'll be made abundantly clear throughout the rest of this episode. Yeah, really. She has already dealt with all that pain, all that trauma, all of everything a very long time ago, so this is basically a guaranteed win for her. There we go. That is the question, the million-dollar question that can actually shake Yue. Why did her uncle not kill her? I said before that Yue is functionally immortal, but that's only true if she has mana, and it takes mana to heal. So, for example, if you were to, chop off Yui's head 4 or 5 times, that might actually kill her because it takes so much mana to regenerate that she would run dry, and therefore her body just would stop healing, and she would just fully and completely die. That's tricky, but not impossible, and yet Uncle took the extra step of sealing her underground, of putting her in a special prison for 300 years. Why? Why go through all the effort? Even just getting there was insane, as this was in the Orcus Labyrinth, meaning 100 floors down of the fake labyrinth, and then, at least like 40 floors down of the real labyrinth, just to reach that point so they could seal away Yue. That is so much freaking work. Yeah, and Yui's a smart person. I think if she really put in the mental effort and thought about it, she realized, hey, something doesn't make sense here. But over the hundreds of years she spent sealed underground, she found it easier just to focus on the hatred, the anger, to despise the man, rather than trying to understand his motivations, because that was easier. That made it easier to survive day in and day out. Oh, here is spirit magic. Are we gonna see it? Oh no, that was the full-on attack. I thought we were gonna get the really important flashback, but no, she just got hit in the face. Oh, poor Yue. Like I said before, the copy's words are starting to work. They're starting to worm their way into her soul, and she's feeling the impact. She's feeling that something is very, very wrong. So this is basically Yui's resolve in this fight. Even if something happens to me, even if I am... Alright, I'm just gonna say what we're cut out here. Well, basically what Yue realized is that if her uncle seals her away, the only reason why he would have done that rather than kill her is because he was doing it to protect her, doing it to save her. Meaning there is something out there, some sort of overwhelming, unparalleled force that is so strong that even a nation of vampires, one of the strongest species in the entire world, was not a match for it, meaning the only way that this man could protect his beloved niece was to stab her in the literal heart and seal her underground alone in the dark for centuries, maybe millennia. He had no idea how long she'd be down there before someone would rescue her, or if anyone would ever rescue her. He did all of this because he felt it was the best possible solution against whatever this threat is. And if this threat is so strong, so unparalleled, then that means that it is probably still out there and might still come after Yui, might still find a way to separate her from Hajime. And when it does, if it really is as strong as your uncle seemed to fear, then maybe even Hajime would not be a match for it. Not even Hajime would be able to stop it. And so in this moment, what she's basically saying is, okay, so yeah, this thing might be out there. It might come after me. It might take me away from Hajime, but he will be okay. The man I love, the man that is the center of my world, will be okay because he still has Shia and Tio by his side. That is incredibly optimistic, let's say. Yui definitely underestimates how much Hajime loves and cares for her. I mean, she knows it's a lot, but she does not know how much it is. But still, this is basically her big solution to this threat. If there is something out there, if it can take me away from Hajime, that's okay, because he will have Shia and Tio and Caelry and everyone else. They will be there to protect him, to heal his heart, and he will be okay so long as he has them. Yeah, so, like I said, big solution is as long as Hajime is okay, I'll be fine. I don't care if I live, I don't care if I die, I don't care what happens, just make sure Hajime's okay. Yeah, and in fact, in this scene in the light novel, Yui is not in great shape. I mean, she has, like I said, automatic regeneration, so she can heal from anything, but her clothes are completely and utterly torn to shreds, and she has not put the focus into fixing them, repairing them, and she's just staring at her own reflection in the wall, in the tree, whatever, for several minutes as she is talking to her, and she just does not notice her presence at all. She can tell something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong right now. Yeah, this was a much easier fight for Shia than it was for Yui. Honestly, nobody cleared this trial more easily than Shia did. Okay, so they're skipping a bit here. Basically, they keep moving forward down this pathway looking for the next room. And, Yui's, pouting. She's not really, focused. She's not listening to Shia all that much. She's giving, one-word responses, whatever. And she's like, Yui, what's wrong? I can tell. Something's wrong. What's going on with you? And Yui's actually very proud that Shia has grown strong enough that she can worry about Yui, which is a complete reversal from who, Shia used to be at the start of the series, when she was so weak and utterly, utterly pathetic that Yui could take her out with a flick of her wrist. But now she realizes, okay, you know what? She is strong, she's powerful, she can look after Hajime if anything happens to me, and that's what she's about to say. It's not going to go well for her. And to Yui, this is a really heartfelt plea, basically her decreeing that Hajime will pass down to her if anything happens to Yui. She's trusting the man she loves with the girl she loves most in the world. This is a really emotional moment for Yui, and, she's hoping that Shia will see it that way, see it as the gift, as the loving offer it is. She will not. Lot more serious light novel where she actually says, "Are you effing kidding me?" There we go! There we go! The fight begins with a slap! Oh, Yui, you kinda deserve that. Also, Yui is just totally baffled in this moment. She has no understanding or idea why Shia is mad at her for saying something like that. Of course, the answer is pretty obvious to us. What Yui's basically saying is hey, Shia, I'm probably gonna die at some point, and just, be okay with that and love Hajime for me. And of course Shia would not be okay with that. Of course she would not be happy with a future that is devoid of Yui, the girl she loves most in the world. Yep, fully ready to hit this little vampire with her giant freaking hammer. Oh, I love Shia. I mean, that seems like, hey, wouldn't that have killed her? Isn't Shia being a bit rough here? But again, Yue, freaking semi-immortal. This is too much as a prank, Yue. She is clearly being serious. Also, I do love the bruise on her cheek is actually staying. It looks, that's a nice touch for this fight. There we go. There we go. I mean, again, think back to, Yue and Shia's first training. Yue froze Shia solid, and all Shia could do was kind of wiggle and beg to be unthawed. But now she's strong enough to actually break through the ice on her own. Yeah, I mean, she is mad here, but really she is more sad. Sad that Yue is giving up, that she is preparing for a future without her, that she is basically saying, like, I'm gonna die and I don't want you to fight it at all. Of course that would upset her. And like I said, Shia's entire trial was basically her saying, like, I don't care about the past, I don't think about the past, I don't regret the past, I just work towards the future. Her entire thing is the future. And right now, Yui's saying, like, hey, just get ready for a future without me in it. There we go. Now we switch over to Caelry's fight, which is an interesting trial, to say the least. Love Mirror Caelry. Seriously, I think I've loved every Mirror version so far. I think Mirror Suzu is still my favorite, though. She's felt so expressive. Like, every reaction, everything she said came with a big... just, like, so over the top. That was so cool. Yeah, that's a good way to start here. Like, let's not forget, the night before Hajime fell into the abyss, Caelry came to him and said, hey, I just had a bad dream that you were going to fall into the abyss. And Hajime's like, all right, well, then you just need to protect me. You need to make sure it doesn't happen. And he said, I will. I promise. I won't let you fall into the abyss. And then Hajime fell into the abyss. Of course she'd feel bad about that. Even if she didn't already love the man, of course she would feel bad about that. Yeah, really. That's her big thing, Caelry. Just feeling utterly inferior to Hajime's party because, I mean, let's not forget, they are literal freaking monsters. And then, she finally did it. She finally managed to obtain power close to theirs by sacrificing her literal freaking body and becoming an apostle, and it's still not enough. Hajime still picked Shia before he picked her. He still welcomed Shia into the harem. He still said that Shia was special to him before he said that about Caelry. Of course that's gonna sting. Of course that's gonna hurt. She's tried so freaking hard, and so far really hasn't paid off. Yeah, I wouldn't really say you're the one who loved him the most. You're the one who stalked him the most. You're the one who was the most obsessed with him. But that wasn't really love. Yeah, that's the interesting thing about this fight. Basically, the copy isn't necessarily getting that much weaker. Rather, Caelry is getting stronger. Much like how Hajime beat his trial by just getting more impressive, getting more powerful, getting, better techniques by seeing himself fight. In the same way, Caelry's like, oh, okay, I am finally getting a chance to go all out in this apostle body. I can finally see what it really does, and I can finally adjust to it. In fact, it's even said that by the end of this fight, she had become the equal of Noint, a being who did actually push Hajime pretty far close to his limits. Of course, Hajime has gotten much stronger since then, but still, she's improving. She is getting better, and that's the important thing. Yeah, there we go right there. Like I said, she is basically the equivalent of Noint, and is now able to use her feathers to create magic circles from a distance away, which is an insane ability to have. Yeah, really. So basically, Caelry's other big issue is that she is utterly and absolutely self-centered. Back in school, back in Japan, she insisted on talking to Hajime again and again and again, and every single time she did that, he got beaten up. The bullies in class, Hayama, the rest of them, they're like, hey, Hajime is talking to Caelry, the pretty girl again. let's kick his butts. And they did. Every single freaking time. But she was too self-centered to realize that she was making things worse for Hajime, that he was getting bullied specifically because of her. Meanwhile, when Caelry parted ways with Hiro's party to go travel with Hajime, she's like, hey, this is what I want to do. Awesome. Yay. But she left behind the party who were still, doing dungeon dives, who were still going into the labyrinth and would no longer have their healer, making things way, way worse for them. But Caelry didn't care because she wanted to be with Hajime. She significantly raised the chances of one of her classmates dying, but again, she did not care. That is just who she is as a person. I love this. I want to change. I want to be kind like Yue, strong like Shia, wise like Chio, and cute like Shizuku. Oh god, just the choices she makes here. As kind as Yue. Yeah, because even though she and Yue fight constantly back and forth, she realizes that Yue is secretly actually really kind, a really nice person, and someone who does truly care about her. Shia is invincible, even without her, impossibly strong stats. She is still invincible and will never give up. Chio, obviously wise, and cute like Shizuku. Yes, because Shizuku is in fact the cutest girl in this entire series. Don't at me. Yeah, so Caelry says, hey, because I was able to notice Shizuku's feelings, because I was able to notice that she is in love with Hajime, that's a good sign. It means that I am growing. It means I am improving. It means I'm becoming less self-centered. Though I would certainly argue that, Shizuku is probably the only person that Caelry has been paying attention to over the years. I mean, at the very least, she's able to tell that Shizuku wanted to be the princess in the play, so... Then again, yeah, there are plenty of times where she just fully and absolutely ignores Shizuku's pain and suffering to get what she wanted. Honestly, I think I could very easily say that amongst all the girls in this series, Caelry was probably the worst at the start of everything. No one else was as bad as she was, just in terms of everything. So utterly focused on herself, just so utterly obsessed, just such a complete and absolute stalker. She was genuinely and truly a terrible human being. Oh, but she's gotten better. Good for her. Such a dramatic moment, with the light novel saying that she was about to finish the epic showdown between her and her copy, completing her somewhat traditional but nevertheless significant personal growth arc. And then... there we go. Yue gets shot into the room, fully interrupts the fight. Oh, poor Caelry. Seriously. Even the copy is confused, because the copy is part of the labyrinth. The copy knows, okay, Shia passed her trial, Yue passed her trial, they'll be here soon, but why the freak are they fighting? This makes no sense to me, and I've read their minds. I know everything about them, but I have no idea why they're fighting here. Also importantly, Yue and Shia fully ignore Caelry. No, not even they ignore her. They are fully and completely unaware of her very existence in this moment. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Caelry's trying to get their attention. Caelry's trying to ask what's up, and they quite literally cannot hear her because they are so focused and obsessed with one another. I mean, that is certainly the philosophy of Hajime. If it's my enemy, we kill it. If not, we don't. Huzzah! And if there is something out there that is after Yue, then they will kill it, no matter what it is. Oh, she had to pull that out. Flat chest. Yeah, from this point on, this fight gets incredibly, overwhelmingly petty. She broke her. She fully and completely broke Yue. Oh no! Ooh. Yeah, Shia, I know you're mad at her, but that may have been a line too far. I'm just saying. Yeah, so what Shia just did right there was hamper with the gravity inside of Yui's spell. And I'm sure her hammer definitely has gravity magic attached to it. I don't think she did that. I think she just threw her hammer with so much force that it created its own gravitational wave and destroyed the spell. Yeah, there comes a point later on in this volume, maybe in the side stories, where Hajime is listening to the explanation of this story, and all he can say is, I guess that's technically possible. I mean, maybe if you have a very limited understanding of the laws of physics. Yeah, Shia is broken. Shia is overwhelmingly broken. Yes, Caelry is so depressed about watching them fight and ignore her that her copy is actually getting stronger. She's starting to fail at this trial because they interrupted her. And her copy, the thing that is designed entirely to make her lose control, to make her doubt herself, to make her, give in to her own darkness, is trying to give her a pep talk because even it feels sorry for her. And she is just so bad at it. I don't think nympho was the right word there. In light novel, they used the word exhibitionist, which was, Yui referring to Shia's very skimpy outfit, whereas Shia was referring to the fact that, Yui and Hajime just have sex pretty much everywhere and anywhere. Pants sweater rabbit. Actually that happened when they first got to the Mileti Labyrinth. Shia went off to pee, accidentally stumbled into the labyrinth, and was nearly impaled to death, leading her to wetting herself, and Yui will never let her forget that. Actually, it's even more serious, more disturbing in the light novel, where Yui says that she's going to crush Shia's boobs, and Shia proudly declares, "I will protect Hajime's favorite boobs," which are 100% fighting words, and which lead into an argument over which of them is better at sex. I kid you not, it gets very, very petty. Oh, that is a bummer. They're actually getting out some of the funniest moments in this entire volume. Caelry's copy is so disturbed by all of this that she just goes in to try and stop them fighting herself, which even Caelry says is a suicide mission. And not only does she fail to stop them from fighting, getting her face stomped in and literally thrown from Shia into Yui as a meat shield, but neither of them even notice she's in the midst of the fight. Neither of them even notice that they're knocking her out of the way because they're just acting on pure freaking reflex. And so then, the copy ends up crashing basically right at Caelry's feet, an inch away from death. And she's like, "No, please, you must run. The ceiling is going to fall and kill you." And Caelry's like, "Yes, you're right." And then she stabs her copy while holding her in her arms, justifying like, "Hey, if you die thanks to Yue and Shia, then technically I will not have finished the labyrinth. Technically I would not have beaten you." And I feel like the labyrinth might be a little bit picky about that. And the light novel actually confirms it would be picky about that. Amazing. Anyway, then she stabbed her copy after Yui and Shia had weakened it. I mean, obviously, she had already passed the trial. She'd already managed to overcome the negative emotions and was going in for the final blow. The copy accepted it was going to lose no matter what. So she should still get a pass, but it's got a big asterisk next to it. Yeah, so she is actually a bit disappointed here because her whole point in this battle was to beat Yui, to prove that she is stronger than Yui, to prove that she could beat whatever Yui is afraid of, which is out there, which she herself cannot beat. Oh god, poor Shia. Like I said, she was more sad than angry here, at least until they got petty, about Yue planning a future without her in it, of Yue planning for her own death, which is the last thing in the world that Shia wants. Oh, the hug. Oh, I love the hug. In fact, my note says this is a hug and tears and everything that lasts for several minutes while Caelry is still in the room and fully ignored. Oh, look at that face. Look at that freaking face. God, I love you, Shia. Again, Caelry, sitting in the corner, fully and utterly ignored. She's mad. She is very, very mad. Honestly, they aren't even, like, upset when they first see her. They're more confused about how long she's been here. And, Yue can see, like, okay, this girl is seriously ticked off, and in order to protect Shia, in order to save her best friend, she intentionally antagonizes Caelry so that all of her hatred, negativity, everything is directed at her instead of on Shia, because she really is just a very, very good friend. Alright, post-credit scene? Yeah, next episode, What Makes a Hero? Which, unsurprisingly, is all about Koki. Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot freaking wait for that one. Seriously. One of the best trials in this labyrinth. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun to see. And, quick question down below. Who here, who hasn't read the light novel, thinks that Koki has a chance of passing in this trial? And if so, how? How can you overcome just everything about him? Literally everything about him. Alright, but overall, I love this episode. Love the flashbacks we got. Actually getting freaking flashbacks. Showing Yue, who she was, or Lita, who she was, the close relationship she had with her uncle, and the absolute just pain, heartache that she had when she was betrayed by him, but also her realization that maybe he didn't betray her. Maybe he steeled her because he actually wanted her to live. He actually wanted to protect her from something somewhere that is out there, which is and could still be a threat to her. Then we got Shia's trial, which wasn't even a trial. I mean, they definitely cut out a bit here, but it was basically just Shia saying, like, yeah, this doesn't bother me at all. I've accepted my past. I've moved past it. I'm focused on the future. Which is also the same reason why Yue, preparing for a future where she'd be dead, would royally, royally tick Shia off. So they fought, and they fought, and they fought back and forth, even breaking into Caelry's room. I mean, so much was cut out of the Caelry fight, the second half of the Caelry fight after it was interrupted, but still. I just feel like that makes perfect sense for just a girl like her who was utterly and completely ignored every step of the way. Oh, God. Again, even the trial felt bad for her. Even her own copy is trying to give her a pep talk and encourage her not to lose hope and not to give in to her own negative feelings, when the entire point of the trial was about, forcing her to give in to those negative feelings. Oh, that was amazing. But please, leave all this down below. Which of these 3 fights was your favorite? Or I guess 4 fights. Yue versus her copy, Shia versus her copy, Caelry versus her copy, or Yue versus Shia. Again, like I said, Shia just kept breaking the laws of physics with every move she pulled out in this fight, and it was amazing. Let me know what you think about all this down below, and until next time, peace!